Hello and welcome to a new video from Byte Analytics. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can connect Power BI Desktop to Claude Desktop and leverage AI capabilities to increase your productivity within Power BI. Now, there's numerous videos out there. It seems to be a hot topic at the moment. Everyone is creating videos around Claude and Power BI. Everyone has their own little version of how to connect it. In some cases, it's quite simple. In some cases, the steps can be back and forth, so you may have different experiences on which video you follow. But in this video, I've tried to simplify it based on my experience, so hopefully it will help you out there. Let's get into it. In order to connect Power BI Desktop to Claude, you need three applications installing on your laptop or computer. Firstly, you need Power BI Desktop itself. This is the Windows application, so you can work with Power BI on your local machine. Next up, you need Visual Studio Code. This is Microsoft's free lightweight code editor. Effectively, it's a smart notepad for developers, which helps you develop and integrate powerful applications. And thirdly, you need Claude Desktop. This is the local installation of Claude right on your laptop. So rather than reaching out to the web browser, you have Claude Desktop installed right on your laptop. The advantage of Claude Desktop is that you can use developer settings within the app to integrate with other applications, such as Power BI Desktop. So please go ahead and download and install all three applications on your computer. The link for each application is in the description, and we'll continue from there. The first application we need to work with is Visual Studio Code. So once you've installed that, open Visual Studio Code and head over to the left-hand side where you should see the extensions icon, which is just there. Go ahead and click on that. And then type in Power BI MCP, and that will list out all the different extensions containing that text. And in our case, we're looking for the Power BI Modeling MCP server. So if you hover over that, it will give you some details about that. But let's click on that and it will open up the blade on the right, which will have the details. I've already installed the MCP server here, and that's why you can see the uninstall button there. For yourself, if you haven't done this before, you should see the install button. So go ahead and install that, and that is step one completed. The next step is to configure this connection to Claude Desktop so the two applications can talk to each other. So let's head over to Claude Desktop and configure this. Here we are in Claude Desktop, and we need to get into the settings. So there's two ways you can do that. You can either go to the icon in the top left-hand corner, File, and click on Settings. That will take you into the settings as well. And the other way is you can click on your username in the bottom left-hand corner, and you can see the settings option there directly. So either way works fine. Let's click on Settings, and you will see a number of different options down the left. Go ahead and click on the developer settings, which is the last option in the left-hand side. And in my case, as I've already done this, I can see the Power BI modeling MCP server already set up, and it's saying it's running, which is a good sign. In your case, if you're doing this for the first time, you will not see this, but you will see the button which says Edit Config, and that button will be somewhere in the middle here. So that's what you should be seeing. So go ahead and click on Edit Config. And that's going to take you into your Windows Explorer, and it's going to take you to a file which we actually need to edit. So this file here, Claude Desktop config.json. This is the file which is going to manage the connectivity. And if I open that up for myself, it's going to open up in Visual Studio because that application is already open as well. And you can see here it's already configured, but for the sake of simplicity and make sure we're all following along, what I'm going to do is select everything and choose Delete. If you see anything in your Claude Desktop config.json file, go ahead, select everything and hit delete. So we'll start afresh as though if we're just going in for the first time. So you should have a blank file. Now what I've done, I've pre-copied a script in Notepad already. So if I go over to Notepad, I have this shorter script here, and this is essentially what you need for Power BI and MCP server to be working. So let's go ahead and copy this. I'm going to make this code available in the description of the video, but keep in mind there is something which you need to change, and that is the command line here. So when I paste this into description, just keep in mind you're going to have to put in the location which is relative to your setup and your laptop. So for the purpose of the example, let's select everything, Control C, copy. Let's head back over to Visual Studio, and we're still looking at the Claude Desktop config.json file. Let's come into the file and choose paste. Now remember this path here, that is the location for the server. And for my instance, this is exactly where it's installed, but for yourself, it's going to be different. So you're going to have to change this for your particular setup and installation. So how do you actually go ahead and do that? Well, let me show you how we can get to that. If you go into Windows Explorer, and let's start from the very beginning. If you head over to C drive and go into your users folder, and then your profile folder, that will be named as per how you've configured your installation, and then go into .vs code, and then into the extension subfolder, and then you will see a folder called Analysis Services Power BI Modeling MCP and a version number. Let's go in here, and finally we should see a folder called Server. Inside the server folder, we should see this file here, which is the Power BI modeling mcp.exe. That is the file which we need to double click on. So if I double click on this, it's going to open up a similar script, similar to a PowerShell script really. So it's going to have some code in here, but we already have this code. Remember, we've copied and pasted our code from Notepad into Visual Studio into our JSON file. So what we need from here is this particular path. And in your case, you're going to have to go and get this from this setup here. So come in here and select everything on this command line. And let's go all the way to the end. All the way to the closed quote there. Let's do Control C. And if you do this on your setup, you will copy the exact location where the server installed. So let's copy that. And now we're done with that. We can close that. Let's go back over. So back in this JSON file, we're going to select just this line here, the command line. So let's go from the beginning of the open quote. Let's go all the way to the end. Make sure we select everything up to the end of the closing quote inclusive, and do Control V. And that's going to paste the exact same path for me because that's where it is installed. And in your case, you will have now copied and pasted the path for the location where your installation has been made. And that's all we need to do here. So currently you can see this file is not saved. You can see that here with a little white dot there. That's indicating that the file is not saved. So if I do Control S, now that white dot goes away. It tells me that file is now saved. So let's close the file and let's head back over to Claude now. And what you need to do is close Claude altogether. And furthermore, what you also need to do is head over to Task Manager, search for Claude. You may actually see it, but if you search for it, it will be quicker. And you need to end task. So you need to completely quit the application. Make sure it's completely closed and quit, and it's not sitting in the taskbar or anywhere like that. You can close this. And then when you open Claude again, you need to come back into the settings. So let's just do that here. Let's come back into File, Settings, Developer. And now that you're in the Developer tab, you should see the Power BI MCP Modeling Server active and running. And that's the first indication that everything has been set up and configured correctly. Okay, if you've got this far, well done on doing that. So how do we actually test this a step further? So let's go back out, and I can start engaging with the MCP server now to see if it actually can talk to my actively open Power BI file. So I've got a file open here. It's the AdventureWorks database, and it's got the usual tables in here. For the purpose of this video, we're not going to go into too much detail, but we're just going to prove connectivity works. So let's go back to Claude, and let's ask Claude to connect to this Power BI file. Can you connect to the open Power BI desktop file? And let's see what Claude comes back with. So it's thinking. It's saying, let me check for any local Power BI instances running, and it's saying it's found a running instance. And it's saying it's connected. I can see your Power BI desktop file. It is AdventureWorks reports. Perfect. So this is how we can configure the Claude Desktop app to be able to talk to our open Power BI files, and we can leverage AI capabilities in order to boost our productivity. Hope that was useful for you, and see you next time.